battle with perfection, I realized it became the new addiction. It became the new addiction of what I was
Mm.
chasing. And it wasn't sustainable, just like the substances. This is the new pattern that took shape. It can also look like workaholism. I got to see that one starting in 2010, but really in 2019, I realized that I had this illusion of perfection as well. And that it was an Achilles heel, this new addictive pattern, and just kept me in this perpetual state of just dis-ease, unrest, because I was always viewing myself from a third party like a prism.
This episode of The Recovery Couch is brought to you by Greg Swartz at Remax Victory and Affiliates. Greg brings heart, hustle, and honesty to every deal. Call Greg at 937-477-8975 today and tell him The Recovery Couch sent you.
Mercury's in retrogrades. It always messes with our technology.
Mercury's and retrogrades, huh?
Yep. Yep. Messes with the frequency. It's all energy.
What, the like electronic waves? Is that what you're talking about?
Yep. Yep. It's just, we're moving through space. We're just moving through space continuously in certain planetary alignments and certain ways that the energy is reflected from the sun and just little packets of energy called neutrinos. That's really what's passing through our atmosphere. And when there's a lot of noise, the signal gets disrupted. I mean, it's just a real communication issue, just with our energy and with the energy of technology that we work with too.
So all the way down to like the human level, when noise being like chaos can disrupt energy. Uh,
100%.
so not just the electronic waves going from Bluetooth tower to Bluetooth tower, or cell tower to cell tower. Um, the chaos sometimes that when I get out of box, that type of energy is negative too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I've been out of box, Jen, for the last 2 days. Like I've had to isolate because I'm afraid of how I'm about to react, and I hate that.
Oh, I hear you. I hear you. Welcome to being human. And we've got into a conversation a bit the other week, and it's just, I imagine your sensitive energy. Other
Yeah,
people's
and
energy. Would you consider yourself an empath?
absolutely, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of noise in the field. There's a lot of yeah, it's noise, it's residue, it's moving fast, and it really throws us off our ground out of the box. And those of us that have a sensitive nervous system, that are aware that we're empaths and really can inadvertently absorb other people's energy. There are times in the day, there are times in the week, times in the month, the year, etc., and times in life, just historically, where there are just big disruptions. And someone that's has a sensitive antenna picks that disturbance up in the field. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of a caveat to the conversation that we did have when we passed at the Joseph House, based off of like the research that I had been doing lately on like the trauma being stored in the amygdala and sending fight or flight or freeze. Um, um, what would be the word I would look for? Sending signals of throughout my central nervous system, right? And gosh, to be completely honest with you, on a personal level, um, I go to war mentally over, gosh, I feel like I've prepared enough for me to not to get this disrupted, or I feel like I've prepared enough physically for me to not get disrupted, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so and then all of a sudden I'm at war. That's kind of where I'm at today
Yeah.
over, why do I feel? Because I'm going to be honest with you, Jen. There is a dark, violent side of me that I don't like, right?
Sure.
Nobody likes that. And
Sure.
um
I get that.
and so when I start feeling that energy from a spiritual perspective, I'm
Right.
like,
Yeah.
am I not in tune with God as much as I thought I was in tune? And
Mm.
then I'm at war. Like mental warfare is what it is. What would you advise me on that?
Oh, speaking the language, just dive right in, right? I mean, Brandon, it's what I heard you say is an experience of energy, physically, mentally, emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually, right? You've been experiencing energy in all these different ways lately. And right now, there's something about the energy that's not so congruent, so aligned, right? And that's what we talk about when we practice our ABCs of presence. Like awareness is the first thing, right? We can't do anything with it. We can't do shit if we can't track it. And that's when I was working with the military. That's a lot of what I did was tagging, tracking, and locating. And I realized that I'm still doing the same thing, still doing the same thing. But first, we're locating the energy. We're kind of tagging it, naming it, if you will, and then tracking it. What does it want to do? How does it want to move? What does it want to say? You know, because that energy, can you feel it too? It's just like this little buzz.
Right this second,
Yeah.
like almost like an anxious.
Zzz.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just energy.
How come I go and okay, let me ask you this. I'll go in bouts of peace, almost like I've even.
I want to hear this, but would it be all right if I slow us down and go back to that feeling?
Yeah. My fault.
Oh, no worries, because it's just like it's real time, you know? It's just real
Yeah.
time because I feel it too. I also have a sensitive antenna. So the invitation is to, we don't want to over intellectualize it because, like you said before, like literally the issues are in the tissues. And I've been there before of over intellectualizing, overthinking, and disconnecting from the signal that's like coursing through my body. So I didn't know what to do with it, but I do now.
Disconnecting from
Body.
the the what that's coursing through your body.
Just the energy that the feeling, right? The For me, it's if I didn't know what it was, it would feel uncomfortable. We might label it anxious, frenetic energy, right?
Mm,
But just coming in real neutral with it, it's a little frenetic. It's a buzz, right? And
yeah.
so I wonder, could we practice together some of the things that we do?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, cool. So awareness first, right? I'm gonna flash this card up. It's awareness first. Can't do anything without awareness of it first. And then we're going to track this energy, body, base, breath, brain, boundary, getting us back to choice of what do we want to do now that we're able to be with this energy as it is. Without, we're not fixing a thing. We're just being with it, right?
Yeah.
So I think just first to tag it, like, oh, it's this feeling. This is what it feels like. And just use the language of my word's buzzy. What's your word? How does it feel? That,
Anxious. Anxious would be my word.
okay, anxious. And to me, anxious as a sensation is a little ungrounded, a little shaky, a little buzzy.
Hmm.
So what would feel best to you? Do you want to give yourself a boundary or do you want to give yourself a little base first?
I don't really know what I'm getting into with either, so I'll say base.
Okay, yeah, and that's trust your body, right? Base,
Yeah.
ground. And as you said that, I noticed that you lifted your feet off the chair. So let's find them back to the floor, right?
Okay.
Let's find them back to the floor. And you can keep even kind of really lock that in. 1 foot stomp, 1 foot, other foot stomp. Lift up your heels 2 feet. Yeah. Let's go through a couple of reps together. 1 foot, 2 feet. 1 foot, 1 foot, 2 feet. Just notice if you can feel your feet. Do you have feet?
My feet.
You got feet, right? Notice your feet beneath you. That's support. The contact of the earth beneath you. Notice what else is your base, your sits bones. Let your sits bones settle and ground downward like a grounding rod towards the center of the earth. And your upright spine, your communication highway, your spine sends the energy up and down. Just notice how your spine is upright and the fact that you're breathing. Yeah. Notice how you're receiving breath at this midday point. Just let it come and go a little freely. Next, notice what's happening with your mind. Is it coming in to where your feet are, or is it going out to different things?
Calm, know that.
All right, it's coming in to alignment. Let's really link it up, sync it up with our truth statement. You might remember this one. It's simple. I know I'm breathing in while we breathe in. I know I'm breathing out while you breathe out. Let's roll through a couple reps, your own rhythm, your own pace. Let's close the loop. Notice how what you're saying, your inner dialogue, your words, matches your action. I'm doing what I'm saying. Building little trust. Notice how it's true for you. Do you feel it? Do you hear it? Notice how you know that you are indeed breathing.
So this is a combination technique
Yeah,
of deep breathing with mindfulness.
correct. And orienting, specifically orienting, gathering the nervous system and redirecting energy. You totally nailed that. That's awesome. Yeah, it's a combination. And here's this important one, if you're okay to come back to it. My favorite one because it was missing from my practice for a long time. And as an empath, as someone that inadvertently absorbs other people's energy and works in and around trauma, with my own trauma. Boundary, to have a boundary, an energetic boundary mentally, but also physically. So if it feels all right, give yourself a little boundary. This is our first boundary to the outside world, a physical boundary. The first one we feel, perhaps. And especially if you spend time up in your head, let's get the melon, move the hat around, move the wig around. Face, besides the neck. Give yourself a container. I think law enforcement, first responders, and firefighters especially could appreciate that first container. Contain it first. Give yourself a container. And my invitation is to notice what wants to happen next. Like if you want to stand up and stretch, do that. If you kind of want to stretch it out, just follow your next healthy impulse to move. And I'll do the same. Reestablish your ground. Yeah.
Yeah.
Feet.
I find when I do that, Jen, I always end up coming back to like a core, a strong core type position with the straight spine.
Strong core, upright. What else is online?
Oh, I think mentally, my base,
Yep.
my boundary, I think, and I'm not what you called over intellectualizing. Well, no, I
I,
want to learn this terminology, especially when we go on a podcast. I'll be able to,
yeah.
so
I thought
uh,
we were doing the podcast right now. I mean, this is good stuff. You're
yeah,
like, it's real time living.
yeah, absolutely. Uh, and I
Just
don't want to
notice
take
what
this.
shifted for you. You know, you have a sense of your posture, you're mentally here, gathered. It sounds like just kind of map to this signature. How it might be a little different than when we first began.
There was some fear of the unknown. That's not here anymore. Um, you I think where I would want to over intellectualize this is I feel like I'm in control and I like that.
Yeah.
But then later on, I'm going to think from a spiritual perspective, like I'm not in control. And am I doing this? Because I practice a lot of these techniques, Jen. Am I doing this to try to, take control? And if I
Mm.
am, is that okay?
Oh, beautiful questions. I think a lot of people want to know this, especially this is the journey. This is the journey of spiritual realignment, the the journey of addiction recovery, really becoming our whole self, and it's twofold. You said it, in my opinion, in my personal experience, and the education that supports and kind of gave words to some of that experience is the first we need to claim our powerlessness, right? We need to let go and trust, and at the same time have it's the paradox. Anytime we encounter God, there's a paradox. It's like, yes, we let go and trust, and at the same time we do what we do in our sphere of influence, what we control, the controllables, not to grip it and rip it, but just to be at ease, at presence, full presence, embodied spirit here, have a container where spirit can land, soul can land, and that to me, it's the paradox of the universe is both and.
It's almost empowering when you get to that.
Mm, it is. I agree. Say more.
Well, because like I said, my busy brain wants to over intellectualize. Okay, when I get to that point where I feel completely like I've let self be taken over by spirit, I start to think, okay, am I doing this for my own control?
Mm,
And the more that I understand about my spiritual life, I relinquish, control of what my flesh wants, and I'm spirit led. And if I let the spirit in moments like this, like right now, where I don't feel like I am overthinking, then the spirit is empowering me to move freely, to move without uh, any sort of need to control. And in and of that, you're empowered. That's kind of
yeah.
that's the premium summit of where you want to be.
Yeah. It sounds, in your beautiful explanation, it sounds like balance, alignment, soul trusts ego, ego trusts soul, working in connection. Soul needs our body. It doesn't have a nose, it doesn't have a foot. Soul doesn't have a stomach. It doesn't have a tongue to eat a burrito and enjoy it, right? It needs our container, our flesh, our senses to inform how it can show up and move through life too.
Did you say soul needs ego, ego needs soul?
Mm-hmm.
So ego is a part of this equation.
Oh my gosh. Do you have an ego?
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think, it's one of those things that it, it's come up twice now, so if I could just name it, it's like the yin and the yang, the balance of life, of the universe. it's black and white, like it's both. And there's a light and a shadow. There wouldn't be light without a shadow. We wouldn't know it as light. We wouldn't perceive it as light if we weren't aware of the shadow. And so it's like everything is from God, a creator, right? Or origin, source, everything. So this notion of like ego is bad, soul is good, it's very pervasive in our society, right? Growing up in the church, there was an aspect of that too. Like it's not like the mind's bad, but the soul is good. It's energy. We need a mind to perceive this environment and realize that I perceive this as black, I perceive this as purple, I perceive you as Brandon, but your ego, your I-ness, is your embodiment of spirit, of source. And my I-ness, my I am version, is me embodying spirit, source, God, as a soul. So we need both.
So,
Otherwise, we'd just be souls out there disembodied. I think.
like you said at the beginning of this, you said, "Welcome to being human," but that's same concept.
Yeah. What does that
So I
mean to you?
shouldn't. Oh, I beat myself up a lot when my ego starts to flare up.
Yeah.
Jen,
Me too. Me too. I've said those exact words, the words you said. I've done so much work. Why? And then that for me, it kicked off the shame spiral of, I've done so much work. I coach about it, teach about it, earn an
mm,
income from it, and yet what was there? It was an illusion of perfection, and
ooh,
it was a rigid small box to live in, and I had really started to crack that open in 2019.
will you elaborate on the illusion of perfection?
What lands for you? Does that resonate in some way?
Big time.
Yeah, say more.
Um,
Illusion of perfection.
as I do this, as I podcast, as I run a business, as I stare face to face with somebody I mentor or I'm caring for, uh, I aim to be perfect
Mm,
and I fall short every time. So, this illusion of perfection is an Achilles heel of sorts for me.
yeah. It then becomes our new teacher. At least that's how I embraced it. I bowed to the battle with perfection. I realized it became the new addiction. It became the new addiction of what I was
Mm.
chasing, and it wasn't sustainable. Just like the substances, this is the new pattern that took shape. It can also look like workaholism. I got to see that one starting in 2010, but really in 2019, I realized that I had this illusion of perfection as well, and that it was an Achilles heel, this new addictive pattern, and just kept me in this perpetual state of just dis-ease, unrest, because I was always viewing myself from a third party, like a prism. It was a prison, but it was like a prism of, how am I perceiving myself? Well, how does that person perceive me? And I lost my eye, lost my boundary. I got swept away.
So, how do you come back from that?
Well, awareness is everything. Awareness
Mm.
before change. And how do I come back from that? How do we come back for that? Knowledge first, right? Awareness that this is it. This is the next level. What's your perception on when we're done with this work? Do you feel like there's an end point, or do you feel like it's what's that like for you?
Yeah, actually, I was going to ask a similar question to you. So, for me, there's still a fear of, yeah, but what about when I get to the grocery store and there's four carts closing in on me at a rapid rate and I'm feeling anxious? Or what if I get into a crowded room where people are talking at my 6 o'clock, directly behind my back,
Yep.
very loud.
Mm.
And, my knee jerk reaction is confrontational. So your question kind of led into my question of, at the end of this, I want to do more. I would love to sit in this state of peace, right? That's why I get up and do breath work and meditate most days. It's more preparation for me, Jen.
Same, same,
Yeah.
same. Yep.
So that I think that answers the entirety of what we're talking about. There's no end state, right? It's always
Yeah. I the part of the illusion of perfection is that if I just do this, that there is a, or if I complete this or perfect this, that Jen version 7.0 is going to be on the other side of the door, and then she'll just take over and everything will be fine.
mm,
It's like, oh no, no, no. This is I'm committed. I'm committed to this path of continuously becoming more myself. And I agree that this nervous system work, this applied mindfulness that has been part of my life for 23 years now, it's gone through evolutions. And I do it in the morning as a preparation, a gathering for my nervous system, and I do it throughout the day. And that's what I teach people and coach people through. Whether we're riding the waves of discomfort, triggers, right? The overwhelm, the cart's closing in, that to ride the waves to bring us back to ride that energy to bring us back to choice. Like you said it, right? Just the choice, and then we can decide, do we engage with the people that are talking loudly behind? Maybe it's inappropriate, or maybe it's just a noise, right? So we can discern that when we have a sense of our energy gathered. So I train people in this about how to apply mindfulness throughout the day to reclaim their personal energy. Not from a place of control, because I love you brought that up, right? It is a sense of control, comfort, because it's engaging with the world in a very mindful and intentional way. But it's through flow, not force. And
mm,
it feels different to me. How about for you?
big time.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why the situations I brought up, they feel forced. Like, okay, do I need to turn around and set a boundary? Hey, could you guys please tone it down a little bit? I don't like people talking behind my back. Feels forced, and I like to go with the flow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in that situation, if you were in my shoes, you would reclaim your energy by something of
Specifically, let's practice it now,
yeah.
because I have audio hearing. I don't know what that's called. Omna audio.
I don't know.
I hear 360. I hear
Yeah,
everything,
yeah.
and it's overwhelming to my nervous system. My daughter experiences that too. Um, Thankfully, I have some experience and know how to ground to it. So that's what we do, right? When all the signals coming in fast and loud, we got to notice it first. Otherwise, we just get swept away on it and then react to it. So instead, we go back to our anchors. That's why we have many of them, because sometimes we're going to realize it first that we don't have our feet, or maybe sometimes we're going to realize first that our breath is just super shallow, and that's what cues us in. Or maybe it is our body experiencing loud sounds, chatter behind us. So you're going to get cued in first. And then we check our other anchors. Feet, get your feet, your base, your sits bones. Are you breathing? Maybe we're just barely doing it. What would it feel like to just track that amplitude of breath without changing it?
So the application of exactly what we're doing now in those moments.
And that is why I have a program called Real Time Resilience.
Let's go.
Let's go.
That was a perfect segue.
This episode of the Recovery Couch is brought to you by JB Davis at South Dayton Toyota. For integrity, service, and unbeatable deals, call JB and his team at 513-267-5225 and tell them the Recovery Couch sent you.
That's it. It's throughout the day, right? It's to stay in the flow of life, whether you're at the meeting or at the grocery store. And then conversely, the other side, it's the same application of our ABCs, but it's to be present for joy. I know you know something about that, like how important it is to map to our resilience and map to our joy and map to our glimmers. Stay connected to hope.
Big time.
Yeah.
So this is an all-day application. How long have you had one session sustain you for?
That is a great question. In that question, I hear, how long will it work for me? Right?
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. And the answer, just being straight up, it depends. How long will the session work is twofold. It's one, how long can I stay connected to this peace or this energy that I have, this groundedness? And on the other hand, it's these tools that I now have in my tool belt. I'm able to repeat them. They're portable. So the answer is twofold. We're with the energy that is right now. And we also have tools to build out the future. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it sounds like the outside factors could come into play also. So you could have a really good session that on a very peaceful day, if you're out in nature by yourself, could sustain you for 6 hours. But if you do have to go to the grocery store, you go to a ball game or a place with a lot of chaos, that energy could affect the sustainability from your session.
Yes. And at that point, and it's funny you mentioned those two examples, because it's where I noticed that I have a heightened state of awareness, a little bit more on. My nervous system's activated. It's at the grocery store. The grocery store, I won't go to certain grocery stores, but I will if I have to, but it's like last of the list, right? And where I would choose others that are more soothing to my nervous system. But also ball games, just crowds in general. And to have more resourcing in our tank is always going to be helpful, right? To have more resourcing before we engage with something that can be depleting or tax our nervous system, ping our nervous system. It's better to have a full cup, as we say, more resources in the tank. Yeah.
And then when something disrupts the peace, then you just grab a tool.
You just grab a tool, because our peace is going to be disrupted. I do believe that is our nature, our state, our true nature state is peace. It's possible. It's just we haven't, we've been so disconnected from it for so long for so many different reasons. But it's never meant to be a permanent fixed solution. Nothing is, right? So we just continue to stay in the loop. Stay in the loop.
The last few questions I want to ask you, Miss Jen, is, so when you do deep breath work,
Yeah.
what is that doing from an anatomical or a biological perspective, like to the lungs? Are you healing or repairing any damage, or are you gaining any sort of VO2 max? Why does it feel so cleansing?
Why does it feel so cleansing? I could talk about this all day. It is my favorite tool of all the
Yeah.
ABCs. Breath work is my favorite. But I also exploited it. Can I talk about that first?
Yeah.
Okay, so I exploited my breath. I use it as a tool to override my energy. When I was training the NFL teams and walking to a room of 200 men to lead them, to guide them before game day, I felt a certain way about it. My, my adrenaline was coursing. I was going with it, and very often I would feel nervous just before taking the stage. But so what I would do is I would practice what I preached, and I intentionally would breathe to fix the feeling of anxiety. You tracking? I
I do
would,
it all the time.
and so I would use breath to fix my feelings. And I use that word fix intentionally because I would just override. So if I was out here, I would just override and just kind of, clamp it down, and then I would experience that energy was still in the system. I just stuffed it down and contained it. So I'd override with my breath, stuff that energy down, and I realized that that was coming at a cost. Because that stress, that stuck survival energy, that stuck in too much energy in the system, it was still within my system. I hadn't safely discharged it. I just stuffed it down. So
With
then I was
breath
like a
work.
powder keg.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So I realized, so I just call that overriding. We just take a breath to fix our feelings. So I'm going to dial it back, right? I'm going to dial it back a little bit and say first is to notice the feeling and not ascribe meaning to it. Because that hits a different part of our brain first when we are experiencing a sense of like holding our breath or shallow breathing. We just we just notice it first. We tag it. Um, and so now I'll say, oh, shallow breath here at my sternum. It would stop right there. Or maybe it's up in my lungs. Shallow breath, high up in my chest. And then I'll do something kind of like feels like a gorilla, right? Just something to, exactly. Just to lighten the seriousness of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to dial it down a little bit. Um, and then, of course, just that awareness that what's happening as a sensation activates a different part of our brain, that it doesn't stay stuck as a story. We don't make a story out of it. It's just heaviness. It's just heaviness, and it feels pressure high up in my sternum. And then I breathe a little bit to it, just to the boundary of it. I just breathe just to the boundary of it. I don't blast through it. I had done that for many years. I just blast through it, fix it. But instead, just breathe right up to that boundary of the tension.
So if it's a shallow breath, let it be shallow.
Let it be shallow for a couple.
Cycles.
Yep. Yep.
What if you
Just
take it to the stage? What if you get to the stage
yeah. Well,
and
you just meet it where you're at, right? And then something with the nervous system goes, oh, okay, I can be with this.
so you speak to the cadence of your breath?
Yeah. You
Huh.
literally, I love your words, Brandon, because you literally are having this dialogue, this inner dialogue through feelings, like through the sensation of breathing. I can hang with this. And then gently, what happens is just meeting that edge, breathing up to the edge, backing away, dancing with it, being with it. And then slowly, 9.5 times out of 10, there's just this gentle expansion that we can gather from it. It's not always the case, but most often it is, where we can just, it slowly starts to let go of its control, its rigidity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then notice what happens. For me, there's just replaying the scenario in my head. I just, there's a little bit more breathing room. And I can come back to this truth in my mind, in my body, and my spirit working together. I am breathing in. I am breathing out. And I'm doing that before I take the stage.
And you notice the audience can feel your energy, I guarantee.
Oh yeah, I always take the stage with presence. Absolutely.
What does that
Sense of
look like?
ground.
What does that look like to you? Say,
Uh,
so let's say in the scenario you just provided,
yeah.
you had to do the breath work right before you take the stage.
Yep.
you met your breaths where they were,
Yep.
and you grounded, regrounded. Now you take the stage.
Yep.
What does it look like at that point to meet the audience with presence?
It's I'd be curious what they see. I can only see in my pictures. But what I feel is my sense of my feet. I have my legs, right? From like fight or flight. It's when we have legs, it's a good day. When we have a sense of having our legs under us and our feet, and I'm upright, my eyes are taking it in, but I'm not scanning. I'm just looking at you and I'm saying, this is my process. I'm happy to talk about it because I train on this. Namaste. I just namaste the crowd. I speak to their soul. Hello, souls. I go to that level before I speak to their personality, their ego, their mind. I engage them at the soul level.
That's deep, Jen. Yeah, I'm glad. No, I'm glad you went there. That's where most people want to receive.
Yeah.
To be honest, there's some shallow. I mean, I've wanted to receive at times something shallow from my ego. Some, like a 2 hour action flick or something like that.
Yeah.
But when I'm in an audience and I'm trying to receive something from a stage, I want it to hit me deep
Hmm.
in the soul.
Yeah.
So that was a great illustration, and that was what ultimately I was getting at. How do you? Um, and it sounds like you. I'm thinking, how do you? Feel your audience's energy. Do you adapt to it? And you're saying no, no. I'm going straight for the soul, and there's nothing
Mhm.
stopping me.
It's twofold. No, I want to note this so I can come back to it. Is the spirit rides the breath, vitality rides the breath. So that's how we embody spirit, vitality. Some people call it Holy Spirit, right? It's
Hmm.
just that the breath, the oxygen itself is from creation, yes, but it's the vitality, the prana, the chi, the energy that rides that breath pathway in that is our vitality, and what's doing things to our VO2, it's doing things to our CO2, it's doing things to our NO2. It's working chemically, energetically, all of it, right? It's whole body. Breathing is a whole body thing, and I'd love to specifically speak to that and to bounce back. So that's how we experience the spirit, embody the spirit, and I go straight for the soul as permission to really, I'm going to use the word consent, but I literally just speak to the word and say hello to their souls in the audience, and just kind of let them know like what frequency I'm bringing here, because I'm going to work very grounded, and I'm going to work with I'm going to hold the room with ground and a higher presence, because I'm not doing it alone. It's pouring through me, but I'm grounded in myself, giving spirit a place to land, and also saying hello to them. I meet them where they're at. Absolutely, right? I'm not going to join them in the doldrums if that's where they are, but I will. But I won't come in like, hey, right? If someone's energy is just low, or if someone's energy is just really really high, and like I can match, but I'm not going to hang out there forever. I'm going to bring,
Mm.
I'm going to do the works myself to model that sense of physical presence and put out that resonance, and we call that co-regulation. We call that in nervous system healing, we call that co-regulation, to co-regulate and to be with someone where they're at in their resonance.
So let me ask you this: if you met somebody at this frantic level, and you bring yourself back down, and then all of a sudden your breath isn't on the same cadence as your words, are you shy to take a deep breath and
What,
reground?
what's the alternative?
There's no alternative.
Well,
An
I'd
audience.
be silly about it. I'd be silly about it, but you have choice. That's part of our experience on this earth, is we have for most of us choice, right? And it's like you can keep holding your breath, you can keep exhausting your wind supply, um, or just take the breath. And what I've noticed when I take the breath, give that pause, or I take a sip of water,
which is also, and you're inhaling through your nostrils.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
we're modeling resourcing while we're slowing down, we're setting the cadence. And sometimes I'll be silly and call it out like, wow, that was a lot. I'm going to take a breath. I invite you to join me.
Like that. Yeah. Yeah. When I took speech, public speaking classes through Toastmasters, one of the first things that they taught was before you even speak. And what I learned in that, Miss Jen, is that it almost captivates the audience even more.
Mm. Yeah, what
Um,
happens? What do you think? Like, what's
Silence is golden, and long pauses, letting things settle.
yeah,
I think it's gold.
it is gold. And you'll soon know who in the room can't hang in that space and wants to fill it real fast. And then also just give the permission to slow down. We're going fast enough. And to give space to slow down, some people's nervous system are like, oh, hell no. I got to keep charging.
Yeah.
And that is, we're not out to fix people, but we are providing a playground and a canvas for them to realize like, oh, slowing down's tough or whatever it is, whatever comes through for their personal experience. But I agree with you, silence is golden. It's captivating and it's also giving permission to just chill, be human,
Yeah.
be
No,
a human being.
this is a human being.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, this is super good stuff. What is the biggest thing you run into with like someone brand new to it? What kind of difficulties or workarounds or are you seeing as a coach?
My biggest difficulty is not in the program, the framework itself, because it's the scaffolding for the nervous system to bring all the pieces that you have into alignment, right? To like make a complete picture. And working with the energy is that's important to feel our vitality, to be able to feel our vitality, not label it as good or bad, just to be with it, to hold it and let it shine. So the program itself, the process itself is not the challenge. My challenge is when I'm on a discovery call with people and they're wanting to learn more about the program. And just when I personally, I'm like, oh yeah, I get it. I understand, here in the words that I say, some people just by knowing that they're not weird, they're not alone, that becomes enough for a while for them. They're like, oh, I don't need your, $3,500 program. This, just you understanding and having some words from my experience has given me so much hope. And then I like give that away for free, which I'm all about giving it away for free in the right environments and the right conversations and supplying tools and being human together. In a sales call, doesn't keep my lights on.
It's true. It's the truth. You got to be honest,
Yeah, that's
but I
it.
like that.
That's the biggest challenge I face, honestly, because the program works when you work it. The process works when you work it. It's not dependency on me. It's really referring the person back to themselves, that agency and choice and autonomy. Just to make the choices that are aligned, mind, body, and spirit.
Well, and that says a lot about the community aspect of just your presence alone. Not to mention a peaceful presence. That's probably even more important in that situation is the fact that you're offering not just a presence, but a peaceful presence. So, yeah, I would say that goes a lot further than somebody showing up with, frenetic energy.
Mm, mm,
To
mm-hmm.
be present with them. That might be kind of what they're making that initial call
Yeah,
about is,
yeah,
hey, if they could say it the way you would probably say it is, I feel frenetic energy
yeah.
constantly. I'm buzzing, right?
Buzzing. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I love what you do. And that's why I've been researching it and practicing it a lot
Yes.
myself. Tell everybody about the SMART program and where they can find all of your information.
So back in 2016, I received a grant to write, to create, and study the SCAR programs called Self Care and Resilience. And SCAR, coming from a military background, I just love a good acronym. So that this SCAR is what came through to me just when I was in meditation. And really, it's about SCAR is the resilience, self care as a form of self love rather than fixing. And the resilience part is what grows when we honor the wisdom and the wound. So it's a deeply named program for me, honestly, because it's an embodied, trauma-informed, embodied nervous system healing program, really working with how to realign our mind, body, spirit after experiencing concussions, addiction, PTSD, burnout, moral injury, chronic pain. That's the landscape that I'm going to say play in. That's the landscape. There's so much overlap there. It's like this beautiful Venn diagram that kind of looks, there's just so much overlap in those things. And the nervous system to me is that missing piece of how to work with it, map to it, and map through it, like the fourth step, right? Now we're taking inventory, we're learning our stressors and our triggers, but we also got to look at the glimmers. So in 2016, I wrote and tested this program, even worked with the staff of the Joseph House. Then they were part of my study. It was community mental health organizations around Cincinnati. I published on the outcomes and all that, but there was still a missing piece. And life gave me the opportunity. When I asked, I prayed like, God, what's missing from this? And then I had this big break, this literally a break where I couldn't land. And I was like, oh, this energy piece that I've been doing on the side, like I was keeping the science up front and the spirituality, but really just keeping my energy work separate. And when I started aligning them, the nervous system, the science, it's the same thing. And when I started to align it, that's when I wrote the SCAR program. I learned from the initial one, but then I really stepped into this program because it's what I needed first. It's what I was working with. It's what I was working with personally, but also working with therapists, social workers, everyday humans. Were experiencing this secondary trauma, moral pain, and it was that soul wound. And so, can I share with you what came through in my meditation?
Yes, please.
All right. It's here it is. These are the commitments of the SCAR program. You exist. You have a container that you live in. We call it a body. You can feel safe in your body and learn to trust it again. You can practice stable boundaries and engage with people around you. You can ride waves of emotions with ease and skillfulness. You can strengthen your instinct and trust and deepen your intuition. You can harness your vital life force energy and expand your energy capacity. You can think clearly, compassionately, and access your 3 intelligence centers. You can speak your needs, your mind, and your preferences. You can train your inner dialogue and your inner critic to be kind and helpful. And you can restore, become more yourself, and realize that you have limitless potential.
I love that.
That's it. Those are the commitments.
You mean to tell me my inner critic can be kind?
Yeah. He's on your team.
What? He's been playing for the other team for a long time, it feels like.
I know. It's the battle is real. It can feel like a battle.
I do think through practicing a lot of the tools that you've talked about throughout this discussion, Jen, that my inner critic is a lot kinder today.
Yeah.
But
Do you have a recent example of that?
Well, unfortunately, my recent example has been like the last 24 hours.
Right. Yeah.
Like that's my most recent, and
Yeah.
to the point where, like I have been out of box. So to go back a little bit further, I would say, I don't know, this last 6 months prior to these last 24 hours, I found myself in this, what did you call it? The illusion of perfection.
Yeah.
Right. When I would fall short, my inner critic used to be like, you're not good enough, or you're never going to be a great podcaster, or you're never going to run a successful business, or that was the type of dialogue that he used to say.
Yeah.
But today it's more like, you're a human being, and
Yeah.
you've
Yes.
look how far you've come, or things like that. So a lot,
Kind.
yeah, a lot more kind.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
thank you for sharing that with me because it's you said unfortunately it's within the last 24 hours. To me it's like that's in the last 15 minutes.
yeah,
That there it's just that these, that realness is an opportunity for us to recognize, evaluate, act, and learn. It's just being with what is and recognizing like, oh, celebrating successes. Yeah. I would love to I would love to keep talking at some point. I realize we've been chatting for an hour already and
Lord
we
have
have
mercy.
so much more to explore, I know. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
We'll stay in touch, Miss Jen. If you could forward this recording over to me,
Yeah.
um, and that way I can get it up. I didn't know, and I apologize for the SMART program. I'll edit this out, but
Oh,
calling it SMART, I knew it was SCAR. I
it's
was in such a
okay.
meditative state. I'm like my posture, everything.
Oh yeah, keep this part in, keep this part. It's just us being real. Just find
Yeah,
our feet, our seat, and
yeah, you're probably
you
right.
know, thank you
Yeah,
for the invitation. I think it was such a lovely surprise. It was a lovely surprise to run
I
into you at the Joseph House for
I
sure.
agree with that. Yeah, and so was this conversation. It was awesome. So have a great day, Jen.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for your wisdom and your subject matter expertise.